Today I'm spilling the tea on how to make these sweet potato biscuits topped with cinnamon, honey, butter. To make these sweet potato biscuits, of course, I use my brand Miss Lena's. Miss Lena's is produced by me, spilling the sweet tea, and I'm just going to follow the instructions on the back of the packaging. You can get my biscuit mix on Amazon or my website, spillingthesweettea.com. So the first thing you want to do is bake a whole sweet potato. You also can boil, air fry, or microwave your sweet potato. I always bake mine just because that's how my mother always did it. Once you have your sweet potato peel, all you want to do is put it in a mixing bowl just like this. Using a fork, just break it up a little bit, and now you want to add 1/3 cup of milk. Baby, I don't care what that date says on my milk carton. I'm always gonna smell my milk before I use it. Once you add in your 1/3 cup of milk, all you want to do is give everything a good mix and set it aside. You can also use a canned pumpkin puree if you don't like the taste of sweet potatoes. Pumpkin will also work in this biscuit mix. Once you have everything mixed up, you just want to set it aside. To make my biscuits, I'm using my Miss Lena's biscuit bowl. I get a lot of questions about this bowl. This bowl is a replica of the one that my mother used my entire childhood. And the bowl is sold on my website, spillingthesweettea.com. To get started on your biscuits, you just want to add your biscuit mix to the bowl. For this recipe, you only need 6 tablespoons of cold butter. Y'all already know anytime I'm making biscuits, I'm going to use my grater. I always just stick my butter in the freezer so I make sure it is good and cold. And baby, when I tell you this new grater that I got is everything, I have been using a similar one to it this past year, but this one is much better. It locks on the counter better to me, and the mouth of the grater is much larger, so the food does not get stuck. If you want to check it out, I'll have it linked. Once your butter is in your bowl, all you want to do is use a fork and slowly coat your butter with your biscuit mix. You can totally use your hands, but when I tell you I cook just the way my mother cooked, with everything in me, I'm always going to do things the Shirley May way. The only thing that's missing right now with me making these biscuits is her red robe, because she would always make a pan of biscuits and she would be in her red robe. But she never used her hands, she always used a fork. Now you just want to break out your sweet potato puree and add it to your biscuit mix and butter. The sweet potatoes are pretty much going to moisten your biscuits. I am going to add a few tablespoons of milk, but this is basically all you're going to need to make these biscuits. Once you have your puree in your bowl, all you want to do is just slowly mix everything together. My mother would always make sweet potato biscuits anytime she had baked some sweet potatoes the night before and had a sweet potato left over. The type of biscuits that she would always make would be plain buttermilk biscuits. Sometimes she'll add a little razzle dazzle if she had a few pieces of hoop cheese left over and make some cheese biscuits. But for the most part, she would make a pan of buttermilk biscuits pretty much every weekend. And baby, we would have those biscuits with some fat back and molasses, some grits and eggs. Sometimes she'll make salmon cakes for breakfast. One thing about growing up in my house, my mama was always gonna make a big country breakfast. I'm not speeding up this video because I really want you guys to really see how I make my biscuits. You really want to take the time to really work the flour and butter into your sweet potato puree. Once you see it's pretty well mixed and your flour is almost gone, then you want to add your couple tablespoons of milk. Now I'm eyeballing this because I've made these biscuits several times. What you don't want to do is add too much milk. You can always add more, but don't add too much. You don't want your biscuit dough to be too wet because it's going to be really hard for you to roll it out. Baby, you'll have dough sticking everywhere. I would probably say I added about 3 tablespoons or so to my biscuit dough to make sure it was moistened the way I wanted it to be. What you're looking for is for the flour to be mostly gone out of your bowl and fully incorporated in your dough. You can see in that upper right corner, I still have a lot of flour, so that's why I added more milk. I think sometimes people find that biscuits can be complicated to make, and they're really not. It just takes a lot of patience. That's the key to cooking, is consistency and patience, because once you do things a couple times, you'll get it. I know it took me several times making biscuits to try to get mine anywhere near how my mama's biscuits would turn out. I think one of the greatest compliments anyone in my family has ever given me has been tasting my food after my mother has passed and telling me, "Carlene, this show tastes like Aunt Shirley made it." Y'all, that just melts my heart. So my dough is ready to go. You see how I'm moving it in the bowl and it's not sticking to my hands? If you find that your dough is too wet and it's sticking to your hands, all you want to do is add more flour. You're going to want to keep flour out while you're making these biscuits anyway, because you're going to need them for your rolling pin and for your surface. To me, these sweet potato biscuits taste better than buttermilk biscuits. Maybe because I'm the sweet potato queen and I love all things sweet potato. So that's it. That's all. That is your sweet potato dough. It looks perfect. Now we're going to roll it out. I have cleaned my counter and now I'm going to just prepare my dough so I can roll it out. Make sure your surface is floured really well. I always get lots of flour on my surface so my dough does not stick. Now all you want to do is just take your dough and place it on your flour surface just like that and flour your rolling pin really well. Once you have everything floured well, all you want to do is just roll it out. If your dough starts sticking to your rolling pin, just add more flour to it. That's it. Now the key to tall biscuits is building layers in your biscuit. The way to build layers is to fold your biscuit dough several times. What you see me do here, I'm going to do at least 4 or 5 times. And you'll see the layers being built as I continue to roll my dough out and fold it over. I have tried so many different techniques with making biscuits. I have sometimes folded it over just once and turned it. But my key method is just folding it over twice and then rolling it out again. Like I said, you just have to have a little bit of patience. You want to do this a couple times so your biscuits come out nice and flaky and nice and tall. Because baby, nobody wants a flat biscuit. Just add more flour to your rolling pin or to your surface if you find that your dough is sticking. See, I folded it over once and then I folded it over one more time. And baby, just look at these layers. You can see them building. Yes. So I really had to look at the footage to see how many times I rolled and folded these biscuits, and I did it a total of 4 times. Oh, and if you're curious about my shirt, 90s R&B raised me, because it did. Baby, I love 90s R&B, honey. That is my favorite era of music. I got this shirt from Amazon, and I'll have it linked in my Amazon storefront under Carlina's Fashion Finds. All right, so this is the last time I'm folding this dough. I'm going to roll it out one more time, and we're going to get to cutting out our biscuits. Now, because I make biscuits a lot, I have several size biscuit cutters. But if you do not have a biscuit cutter, you can just use a glass. You just want to make sure whatever you're using, you don't want to twist. You just want to cut straight down. I always flour whatever I'm using to make sure I have no issues. If you twist your biscuit cutter or whatever you're using when you cut out your biscuits won't rise properly. Baby, look at that sweet potato biscuit. She is giving. So I'm going to show you guys one more time. I'm going to flour my cutter and go straight down. I did not twist it. Going straight down, it pops right out. Well, this one acting like it don't have no sense, but typically it'll pop right out. With these sweet potato biscuits, sometimes they have a little bit of the strings of the sweet potato, and that's what was holding up my biscuit right there. I used a pretty large biscuit cutter, so I think I only was able to get about 7 biscuits out of this dough. The packaging on my mix says 10. And if you use a much smaller biscuit cutter, you can get 10 biscuits out of this biscuit mix. Like I said, the biscuit mix is on Amazon. It's also on my website, spillingthesweettea.com. And baby, if you live in the state of Maryland, you can find the biscuit mix and all Miss Lena's products in your local Food Lion. I am a part of the local goodness program for Food Lion. So my food brand is in 52 Food Lion locations around the state of Maryland. So all you see me doing is just using the remainder of my dough and rolling it out again and just cutting out my biscuits. See how I just went straight down and pulled up? No twisting needed. Baby, it is just something about a sweet potato biscuit. Look at that. Look at that biscuit. Absolutely beautiful. And baby, we are not going to waste any dough around here. So I'm going to cut out this biscuit from this batch, and then I'm going to get one more biscuit out of this dough. Because waste not, want not. It definitely takes time to make any type of biscuit. So we're not going to waste one biscuit over here in the Spilling the Sweet Tea kitchen. I'm just trying to work the dough a little bit with my hands, because sometimes when you get to the end, your dough can be split on the top. And I actually had a couple of my biscuits split on the top. It's perfectly okay if that happens, but to avoid that, you want to make sure the top of your biscuit is nice and flat. It should look just like this. I could not wait to eat these biscuits. They were smelling so good. I put mine on a baking tray lined with a baking mat and baked them for about 15 minutes on 425. And this is how they come out, fresh out the oven, fabulous. Do you see how thick these biscuits are and how beautifully they rose in the oven? They are so pretty. I always top my sweet potato biscuits with cinnamon, honey, butter. I just melt a half a stick of butter in the microwave and then add a couple tablespoons of honey, and then a sprinkle of cinnamon goes in. Give everything a good mix with a pastry brush, and then brush on your honey cinnamon butter on your biscuits. To me, cinnamon and sweet potatoes just go together. So this honey cinnamon butter just takes these biscuits to the next level. My husband loves when I make these sweet potato biscuits. He did not grow up eating biscuits. He's honestly not a huge fan of biscuits. Anytime I make plain biscuits for breakfast, he'll normally skip eating one, but these sweet potato biscuits, he won't ever skip. He loves the taste of these sweet potato biscuits. You really can eat them right by themselves. They don't need anything else But I decided to make these sweet potato biscuits into breakfast sandwiches. So all I did was brown up some Canadian bacon. I baked my eggs in my egg molds and then topped it with some cheese. Y'all know I do not like eggs, but I made these for my husband. He absolutely loved them. They were so massive and so filling, he could not eat all of them. So of course I wrapped them up and stuck them in the freezer to enjoy them another morning. If you love a sweet and savory biscuit sandwich, you would love this egg, cheese, and Canadian bacon sweet potato biscuit sandwich. Baby, that's it. That's all. You just got the tea on how to make a sweet potato biscuit using Miss Lena's sweet potato biscuit mix. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. I can't wait to share with you what I'm making next.